now.
Okay. Now, welcome to the Crafty Games Seminar. Who here has not been to one of these things before?
We have
one of our
suspecting victims.
Okay, so you may not know us, so I guess we'll go through with the introductions so that everybody can put names to faces.
I'm Alex Flagg, but I have nothing more to say about myself.
He speaks unkindly of himself. Alex is the creator of 10,000 Bullets, which is our upcoming crime noir setting and street toolkit.
Yes.
He's also the creator of Shatterpunk, which is a cyberpunk variant. I'll let him discuss further as he's comfortable. I'm Patrick Cabrera. I used to work at Alderac Entertainment Group, and I was one of 3 writers on Spycraft, which is the game that Crafty Games currently produces, Spycraft 2.0. And before that, did the first edition and a million other things. LBS, L5R, didn't create them, just worked on them in town.
And I'm Scott Garrett. I do a lot of the mechanical design for Spycraft, and one of the most persistent freelancers in the industry. That's why I'm here now.
He's also the creator of Farthest Star, which is our upcoming space opera setting. And the one I didn't mention is I'm the creator of World on Fire, which is going to be out imminently, and also Crucible, which is a horror setting coming up Halloween next year. Okay.
October 30th, catch it.
Where do we want to start? There's a lot to talk about. It's been a busy year.
Do you want to start with the obvious question?
Do we want to go through the what has this year been like first, or do we want to talk about the big stuff?
I don't want to start with belly aching, so
okay.
Maybe we should start with the obvious question: where the hell are the books?
Yeah.
I think that's easy.
Yeah.
The answer is in customs.
Yeah.
Seriously, I don't know if any of you went to try to go to the Mongoose or try to go to the Mongoose today, but apparently they got caught up in customs.
As recently as yesterday, they thought they were going to be here.
Right, and
I have
unless
my
customs
speculations.
releases them in the next day, it's pretty much irrelevant.
I mean, I have my speculations about the fate of a book about espionage coming into the country from overseas.
Right.
Yeah, that happened in New Zealand.
I will read a bit of the back cover text for World on Fire in a second, and you'll understand. If they look,
It's going to be one of those books.
Yes, they decided to read the books. We're deep shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We have 2 books done.
Yes, we have 2 books in the can at the printers. Technically printed.
One of them is Spycraft 2.0, the second printing. It is this book, but with every piece of errata we've ever concocted for it, within an all-new gear chapter that is built not to describe specific mechanics all in one place, but to describe the process as you encounter it. So in steps. It's identical, well, very similar except for the errata, to what we've released in the PDF. The PDF will be updated when we release the book officially, which will probably be in the next 2 months. We have to work that date out when we talk to Mongoose.
Yeah, so that date is still TBA, unfortunately, but
probably in late September or sometime in October.
You'll know as soon as we know, as usual.
Because really we have no reason to.
Right.
But the other thing is, don't ever believe the Mongoose website. I know some of you guys have been anxious.
All respect due to Mongoose, but their process is very different than ours.
Yes, their enthusiasm sometimes outstrips their capacity to actually produce things on time.
Well, what it really is that their process requires them to have a running date. Unfortunately from our perspective, but probably works perfectly well for them, the date is subject to change on an organizational level. So if their printers or their editors or layout guys decide that a book is going to be delayed, they change the date. That date is public all along. And with a new prospect, like 2 new books from a new company, that's kind of traumatic because most of the time these products take quite a few iterations to get ready. There's galley copies to consider and all sorts of other quality control issues. So.
We're not talking about the war stories.
No. Just wanted to explain why it's happening.
Crucible will be better for this experience.
Yes.
Well, Farthest Star will be better. By the time we get to Crucible, hopefully it'll be science.
Right. I'd like to have it ironed out for 10 KB, but the book has had so many setbacks at this point.
6 years in the making.
6 years in the making. Actually, yeah.
We should
it's
really
older than
like
6 years old. So yeah, it's the tagline. Some of you have already heard it. Some of you haven't. Inspired by Grand Theft Auto 3, out in time for Grand Theft Auto 4. It's going to work
We
out.
considered upgrading it to 75,000 bullets, but we didn't think anyone would get the joke.
So that's the obvious question.
Yeah.
So, as usual, imminently soon, if you go to our website, we keep everything updated.
And to prove that, that the books do in fact exist, this is a galley copy of World Empire. Yes, indeed, the books do exist.
Now we believe you.
And I promised, the first couple sentences are terror. It is a world we know well, word we know well. It haunts our daily lives and changes the way we act, the way we think. Though we may not realize it, terror has drawn us into a new kind of global conflict that is fought not only in far-off places, but also in our hearts and minds. And it goes on to basically describe, look, this is a role-playing game about terrorists. It doesn't necessarily explain that you're fighting them, and that may have gotten us canned for the weekend, with the FBI looking at the book going, what is this, a training manual?
Yeah.
Well, and then there's an entire chapter in here on tradecraft and espionage and codes.
Flip to the right place.
It is a training man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty.
Just so you know, a lot of people have asked this question. How will we know the difference in the books? Well, for one thing, you'll notice that the Mongoose books are slightly tall. You'll also notice that our logo is always on the spine. That will change here on the 2.0 books. So if you see AG's name on the spine, you're looking at the wrong one.
But we didn't do anything as crass as changing it to Spycraft 2.1 or anything else. You know, and we're not asking anybody to rebuy unless they want a new Dead Tree copy with all the goodies.
Right.
So
we're not going to a new
carrot
edition.
rather than stick. Yes.
Yeah. From this point forward, the second printing will be the base printing. So it's the only one we're going to use for references. It's the only one we're going to talk about anywhere, and hopefully we'll get everyone up to date with it so that all the page numbers and everything referenced in the forums.
Most of them are pretty close, but if you have,
Chapter 4 is
enough clarifications, it can scoot some of them.
Yeah. What's the next one?
Well,
Next obvious question.
The next obvious question, are we?
That's got to be what's next.
what's next? You want to go there?
Yeah. Okay. So we mentioned an announcement a while back on the forums a few weeks ago that we were going to be making known here. It's the first time that we have talked publicly about this project at all. It's something that has come up sort of organically in our company, as opposed to being something we sat down and said we were going to do. In fact, we said we weren't going to do it for a very long time. But we feel that every fan of Spycraft has waited long enough. We are producing a dedicated FantasyCraft sourcebook. It is going to be a full set of rules for, much like Spycraft 2.0, for playing any genre of fantasy. So you'll be able to do Conan with it. You'll be able to do, yes.
That's my part.
Yeah. You'll be able to do Asian sorcery with it. You'll be able to do post-apocalyptic fantasy with it. You'll be able to do a lot of it.
And the commonly put forward cloak and dagger. Yep, it's Spycraft, but now you have cloaks.
Yeah, you will. There will be a spy.
That setting is called Cloak and Dagger.
Yes. The FantasyCraft is going to have eight settings, 6 settings, how many?
7.
7. So we settled on 7. Alex is doing one.
Yes.
Do we want to talk about these at all?
Let's not.
Okay.
Since they're fairly small.
Yeah, they're like 20 pages a piece at the top end, 15, 12 at the bottom end.
But the beginning of the book gives you the general kind of toolkit behavior you've seen from us. Here's some classes, here's some idea of how to use what you've already got this way. Here's a few tweaks, here's a couple of campaign qualities. Here's a big pile of meat and potatoes, new goodies. And then a series of campaign settings that walk you through how to use each one of these and give you seats and get off and running.
Right, all of them actually operating outside that basic mechanical box.